Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Wanted to hop up here on a little live show and talk about the game versus the Atlanta Falcons, where the Vikings absolutely dismantled this football team with a final score of 42-21. So for the next 40 minutes or so, it's just going to be me up here chopping it up with you guys. We're going to get no content, no real videos out of this. It's just going to be kind of like a Vikings fans react to the latest win over the Atlanta Falcons. So I'll say this to you guys. If you want your thoughts up on screen right next to me right here, sending a super chat is a great way to do so. But if you guys can't do that, I'm excited just to chop it up with you guys and talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Let's start off with this. If you guys love the Minnesota Vikings and are hyped up about the 11-2 start, just give me a skull down below in the comments section as we let the audience build up here for a couple of minutes. But shout out to Jax, Ty Man, the Buckeye, Sherry's in the building, Lego Fella, Cole, #1 Skull fan, Dat Rat Boy 420, Joey Tana, Mohammed, Roger, Jax, bunch of real ones in the building. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. But yeah, I just wanted to get up on here, chop it up with you guys about the Minnesota Vikings for about 30 minutes or so, talk about the game, what I loved from that, obviously big time win versus the Falcons, where I felt like the Vikings offense for the first time this season, we saw the max potential. Like, we saw the best outcome that is out there. And this is also like a team that struggled in the first half. Like, it wasn't a perfect game by any means, but you were still able to have enough of a, output offensively where you dropped 42 points. And, I've been getting a couple comments. Oh, man, the Falcons had the 21st ranked pass defense, 21st ranked defense. And listen, I hear all that. But again, these are still NFL players. They still had Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons, Matthew Judon, Grady Jarrett. Like, there's still some good football players on that side of the field for Atlanta, and the Vikings were just able to handle them pretty easily yesterday. So I thought they were absolutely awesome. PC Sweet saying, how do you think Kirk Cousins did? I thought it was an up-and-down game from Kirk. Like, he had a couple of throws, like specifically at the end of the first half, to Darnell Mooney and that little cover 2 hole shot that he actually just threw over the deep half zone for the Vikes. And, it was an unbelievable throw. But then he also had a couple of just absolute head scratchers. So, if my take on Kirk Cousins would honestly be, I don't know if he gets another starting job in the NFL. Like, I think this might be it for Kirk. I think he's still going to finish out this year in Atlanta. At least that's what Raheem Morris said. But, I could very well see this being where it's like, hey, Kirk hits a free agent mark, or Kirk gets traded somewhere next season, and he's just a backup quarterback, whether that's for the Falcons or if he goes to another team. Like, I could see, Kirk being a backup. But let's see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Shout out to that Rat Boy in the building. Lantern Signals in the chat. Trying to see your message here. You're saying, I don't mind being proven wrong. Eli saying, was that Sam's best game? Talking about Sam Darnold. 100%, dude. I think that was his best game of his NFL career. Actually got some stats to show for you guys. Darnold on 20-plus air yard throws this season. He's completed 27 of them. Now, this isn't 20-plus yard completions where Darnold has, I think, around 50 now this season. He had 46 coming into Sunday. But, hey, completion percentage on 20-plus air yard throws, second in the league. Touchdowns first. Now, he is first also in interceptions as well. A lot of that came in that stretch where he was just really staring down that barrel and forcing balls into Justin Jefferson. But turnover-worthy play percentage, 12.5 on only 20-plus yard air throws, third in the league at 12.5%. But still, you just take these first 3 stats, man. That's special stuff from Sam Darnold. The fact that he's first there, second in completion percentage, first in touchdowns, like, he has a big-time explosive arm, and I just really feel like still Vikings fans have these blinders on from his days with the New York Giants. But listen, guys, New York Jets. But listen, it even goes further than that. I guess the one negative on Darnold you would say would be his feel in the pocket, him not always extending the play as much as we would like. But hey, sacks giving up 40 this season. That's third. Pressure to sack ratio 23.7. That's 7th in the league. And then at the bottom, 3.1 of TTT, which is third in the National Football League. So listen, I think Darnold's had a great season with the Vikes. I said I'm not going to give a final take on if the Vikings should extend or not extend Darnold until the end of the season, until we see how this whole story plays out. But if let's just say the season ended right now, I am 100% bringing back Sam Darnold. He looks like a top 10 quarterback, and, maybe it just took him a little bit to figure it out. Maybe it just took him to get in the right organization, get around the right people. And, I've been saying this on the channel for a while. I think all of us, not just in sports, but in life, we're all products of our environment. And Darnold, when he was with the Jets and Panthers, two of the, losingest organizations in the entire National Football League, he goes to the Niners. He's around Brock Purdy, Shanahan, John Lynch, and he comes to the Vikings. I mean, the teaching and the coaching that he has had over the last couple of years has been top tier. So we are getting a super chat rolling in here from my man, Garrett Russborough. Shout out to you, Garrett. Toss it up on screen here in a sec. Just get that. Here we go. Garrett Russborough, appreciate you, man. $10 super chat. If you guys want to show him some love in the live chat, I'd appreciate it as well. But Garrett's saying, I extend Sam to be a backup for J.J. McCarthy for 2 years. This game showed Falcons fans Kirk is done. We need to address the interior O-line this offseason. I can see us winning 2 playoff games. So Garrett's saying he would bring Sam Darnold back as a backup. Now, I don't think that has a chance of happening because, if the Vikings do bring back Darnold, it's going to be on a pretty hefty deal where it's pretty much saying, hey, you are the guy unless he just is terrible for the first, 7 games next season. Then you can just throw J.J. McCarthy in there. But, if the Vikings say, hey, we'll bring you back as a backup, I am sure Darnold will just leave and go somewhere else where he can be the starter because he has earned that. But, Garrett, I understand what you're saying, but I just don't know if that's too likely. And the point about this game showed Falcons fans Kirk is done. I'm with you. Obviously I don't get to watch every single Falcons game as in-depth as I would like since we're mainly just live here on the channel during those games. But, man, seeing Kirk up close and personal, he definitely lost his step. It almost looked like he got hurt during that bye week yet again, and maybe he re-hurt that Achilles, but he just doesn't have the same juice. I mean, he was a 36-year-old statuesque quarterback coming off a torn ACL, so he definitely didn't look the part. And then you saying we need to address the interior of the O-line, I'm with it. Garrett Bradbury was terrible yesterday. I probably should have talked about it in an earlier show, but he got ragdolled multiple times. And the point about you saying I could see us win 2 playoff games, I'm with you. 100%. I think if I had to call the divisional round weekend right now, I think it would be the Vikings in Philadelphia taking on the Eagles, and then also I think it would be Green Bay in Detroit taking on the Lions, and then you never know. Anything can happen. Let's just say the Packers beat the Lions and you beat the Eagles. You could still host an NFC Championship game, even being the 5 seed. So, obviously we want to get that 1 seed, but again, it's not the end of the world if the Vikings don't do that. But Garrett, I appreciate you. Again, if you guys want to get your thoughts up on screen, super chatting is the #1 way to do so. Say whatever you want. If you got a hot take, whatever it may be, just get it out there. You guys can see your take be seen by thousands and thousands of Vikings fans. But Roger Bong coming in with a $10 super chat. We'll get that up on screen here in a sec. But totally not pro gamer saying, do you think the Vikings could re-sign everyone that would be free agents this offseason that is worth to re-sign, even with Sam Darnold being re-signed this offseason? Yeah, I mean, it obviously just comes down to the contract and how much money the Vikings have to spend once this cycle is all said and done. But, if you're talking about guys like Gilmore, Shaq Griffin, I don't know if they're – or even Byron Murphy too. I think if I had to choose one corner that they're going to re-sign, it's probably Byron Murphy. But I don't know, what's his contract going to look like? Because, yes, he's had the interceptions this season, but he's also got beat multiple times. So really we'll have to see on how the Vikings play that. But, man, I would love to bring back the Byron Murphy and Stephon Gilmore. I don't know if Shaq Griffin makes a whole lot of sense, but totally not a pro gamer. I appreciate you, man, for tuning in. But Roger Bong coming in with a $10 super chat saying, thank you, Zig. You all forget when we went from a bar team to a legit because of ownership. Skull. I am with you. The Vikings' success, and, I feel like we always talk about this when a team or an organization is performing not well, where it's like, oh, why are the Bears struggling? Why are the Jets struggling? Why are the Giants struggling? Well, it starts at the top, but also I think it's on the other hand, why are the Chiefs so successful? Why are the Bills? Why are the Rams so successful? Yes, they have great quarterbacks. They all have great coaches, but also it starts at the top. And I think the same thing can be said for the Minnesota Vikings. It starts up there with the owners, then it goes to the GM, then it goes to the head coach. And all 3 of those have outperformed my expectations and all of our expectations. So, Roger, I think you absolutely nailed it on the head with this one. Yes, shout out to Zig, man. The Wilfs. They're awesome. They're awesome. As Mark C in the chat saying, fade Seep season. You're not riding with my prize picks lineups anymore, Mark C. Good to have you in the building, though. I appreciate you. But let me ask you guys a couple of questions here. So I'll go to this. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. You know what? We'll go here. I'll ask you guys this. Let's get the pulse of the fan base real quick on this one. Pick a QB for me. Jalen Hurts or Sam Darnold? Curious to see what you guys got to say. If you're riding with Hurts, give me a 1. If you're riding with our guy Sam Darnold, give me a 14 down below in the comments section. William say, do you think Vikings could re-sign Sam but trade JJ? Somebody actually asked me that earlier today. I'm going to say probably not. Like, even if they give Darnold, let's say, a massive, 4 or 5 year extension, I still think JJ is on this team. I still think they're going to, have him behind the scenes working with Darnold. And once Darnold is off this football team, JJ's ready to slide in there and be the franchise quarterback. Yeah, a lot of 14s coming in the chat. But, point being here is, a lot can change throughout a year. Like, if I would have asked this before the season, you guys would have said I was crazy. No doubt. You guys would have said Jalen Hurts 100%. But, where do you guys think Sam Darnold ranks in the entire quarterback rankings and just the NFC? Because, honestly, there's only one quarterback I'm taking over Darnold right now, and that's Matthew Stafford. And, a couple of you guys have given me a hard time. How could you choose Stafford? He's only got 19 touchdowns. I get that, but Stafford's also been working this season without Cooper Kupp, without Puka Nacua, and when he has those guys back, he has been fantastic. So, I'd probably go he's the second best quarterback. Yeah, 2 or 3 I see coming in the chat right now. Jacob Cole saying number 1 best quarterback. You can make an argument he's playing like the best quarterback in the NFC. Roger saying top 3. I've said it all season. Garrett Russborough saying hot take under KOC. JJ will be better than Sam. Okay, so Garrett, that's a great segue to this. So, listen, so if you guys don't know, I'm a big JJ guy. Went to the same high school as him. He's definitely a hell of a player, hell of a person. Got nothing but good things to say about JJ McCarthy. But the argument that I would make if I was like JJ's the guy, JJ's the future, would be all of this success that we're seeing from Sam Darnold. You can just chalk it up to the quarterback or to the head coach. And I agree with that, but to an extent, we saw him last year when we rolled out Jaron Hall and Nick Mullins. I understand they're not even close to the same level of quarterback as Sam Darnold is, but also we saw that offense seriously struggle with all the weapons, with the offensive line perfectly healthy, and we've seen them struggle. And I think it's a tough spot for the Vikes. Is Kevin O'Connell, is he truly the number 1 QB whisperer in the NFL where he can make any quarterback look like a top 10 guy if they have enough skills to get them there? If you're in that camp, then yeah, 100% the Vikings should let Sam Darnold walk and just trust the process where it's hey, JJ's our guy. And then you also got to think about it, let's just say JJ goes out there first 10 games the next season. He's 3-7. He's struggling. He just doesn't look like, the guy that Sam Darnold was the year before. You can just pivot very, very fast. It's not like you're in a situation where the Niners were, where they traded multiple firsts to go get Trey Lance. They also drafted Brock Purdy, and they were like, man, Brock Purdy's just a better quarterback. We're going to ride with him. Different situation because Purdy was still on a rookie deal, and Darnold's about to get paid this offseason. But, if you think KOC is truly the best head coach in the league, the best QB whisperer in the league, then you're probably cool with letting Sam Darnold walk, and you just ride out with J.J. McCarthy. Vikings fans, do you think they're legit Super Bowl contenders? 100%. Honestly, if you don't think the Vikes are Super Bowl contenders and we could be playing in that game this season, you got to check your pulse at the door, man, because I think this is a special team. You're a top 10 scoring offense, top 5 scoring defense. They are a very, very good football team. And if you don't think they're Super Bowl contenders, man, you gotta check your pulse before you watch some of my videos because, I'm not trying to take a victory lap just yet, but I was on a very short list of people who believed in the Minnesota Vikings, even Vikings fans, because I looked at this team and I was like, man, you look top to bottom, they got a pretty good roster. They got a pretty good coaching staff. Before the year, I always thought Kevin O'Connell was a great coach. I always thought Brian Flores was a great DC. I loved all the moves this offseason. Van Ginkel, Cashman, Grenard, those are 3 massive, massive pickups for this defense. and I saw the weapons with Jefferson, Addison, Hockenson at tight end. Obviously, no Darisaw, but heading into the season, you had 2 tackles, 2 receivers, a great tight end, and plus you brought in Aaron Jones. I was like, really the success. I mean, you guys can go back and watch it. I was saying the success of this team will fall on the shoulders of Sam Darnold. And with him playing the way he is, that's why you are 11-2. It's because the quarterback has taken that next step in his career where he truly looks like a top 12, top 10 guy in the National Football League. So, I'm a big fan of what the Vikings have done this season. I think this was honestly one of the better off seasons in recent Vikings memory. But you know what? We'll have to wait and see how the season plays out. But Roger's saying, I've said it all off season ever. Yeah, Roger was with me, man. You were in the same camp. And again, like I'm fighting this battle right now, everybody, where it's like, I'm like watching the Vikings. I'm like, man, yeah, they're a true Super Bowl contender. But I can't tell if I just have like that purple Kool-Aid haze over my eyes where it's like no matter what product the Vikings put out there on the football field, I'm going to be an optimistic fan. But with what I'm seeing right here, what I'm seeing from Sam Darnold, it is legit. He is a blue chipper. He's big. He's strong. He's athletic. He's a smart kid. He's a coachable kid. And we're finally seeing him, take that next step. But William saying, it's just the Lions that scare me. How do you think we can beat them in Week 18? I think we need to shut down their run game. So, yeah, about that Lions game Week 18. First off, I really hope that game means something because that would be a crime if, let's just say, the Lions have the number 1 seed locked up and they're not playing anybody. But then again, like even if the Vikings, let's just say that game is not for the NFC North, the Lions could still want that game for the number 1 seed in the conference if Philly keeps playing the way they're playing and just ripping off wins. But that Week 18 game, how do the Vikings beat the Lions? I mean, it's number 1, taking away the run game. They're the best team in the league on first and second downs by far. They get in the third and long very rarely. They got a great offensive line, but I think injuries is my biggest concern with this team heading into that matchup because I really think if you want to beat the Lions, you need Ivan Pace and you need Blake Casham to be healthy because they are the way you are going to stop the run game. And let's just say Jalen Redmond continues to take those steps where you got another good D tackle next to Harrison Phillips and you get the linebackers back and this defense is fully healthy. Like, they got a chance. And plus, us with the Lions, I don't think they can guard the Vikings on the outside. I know Carlton Davis is a very good corner. Kirby Joseph, you guys know my thoughts on who he is just as a person, but and just a football player in general. But I think the Vikings will seriously have an advantage. And also another advantage, the Niners are hosting the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football Week 17. So the Lions are across the country Monday night. They got to fly back Tuesday or probably Monday night, and then they just have a short week to prepare for the Vikings. Now, yes, the Vikings are playing the Packers, so that's going to be a physical game. It's not like the Vikings have like the Panthers in Week 17 where they can almost look ahead to that Lions game. Like, you got to handle business against the Packers first, Ben. But, man, those last 2 weeks, it's going to be a hoot. Honestly, like the next 2 games versus the Bears and Seahawks, you just kind of got to get through these, get 2 wins, and hopefully you're set up where you're 13-2 and you're hosting the Green Bay Packers, and they're probably going to still be scrapping and clawing, trying to get that 5 seed from you. But, it's going to be some great games. And then you got the Lions in Week 18, and, that's going to be a hell of a game. But Apollo saying, if we kept Darnold, JJ is sitting behind him the way he's played this season. Skull Jets saying, do you think Harrison Smith will retire? So I was actually thinking about that today. If let's just say this is the special year for the Vikings and, they do end up going to win the Super Bowl, who would I be most happy for? First off, all the fans, the ownership, Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi, and all the guys on the team. But, specifically, one guy on the team I was thinking about would be Harrison Smith. A guy who's spent his whole tenure, his whole career with the Minnesota Vikings, and he has just been the definition of class in this organization. So if I had to pick like one guy to win a Super Bowl ring for on this team, it has to be 22, the Hitman. He was one of the players that made me fall in love with this football team when I was a little kid, just seeing the intensity that he played with, man. He was a hitter. He's still a very intelligent football player, still making plays. So, hopefully Hall of Famer Harrison Smith. I got Apollo saying in the live chat right now, like, hopefully Hall of Famer Harrison Smith is he's able to get that ring eventually. But I don't know how many more years he has. Like, because also I think this is like the first year of many years where the Vikings are competing for the Super Bowl, hopefully. At least the way they set up their contracts where, you got a ton of money to spend this year in free agency. Hopefully you're able to go get like a Trey Smith, offensive guard of the Chiefs, go get a corner, like a DJ Reed of the New York Jets, and you attack the draft hard, you draft well, And then it's like next year where it's like, oh, man, here's the year where the Vikings can go do it. But, I think, like, the Vikings, they're in a weird spot because, like, I think the Packers, for example, I think the Packers are a year away. I don't think they're old enough. I don't think they're groomed enough where they can go win 3 straight road games. I mean, most likely this year since they are the 6th seed, and go win a Super Bowl. But Harvey also saying, yeah, Kyrie Jackson, no doubt. Guys that won a Super Bowl for. I'm with you. But, it's weird with the Vikings. Like, I don't know if they're a year away. I don't know if this is their year this year. Like, it's just so funny where it's like before the season. Like, if I would have told you guys before the year, would you sign up for 10-7? I'm sure all of us would have said, hell yeah, I'll cut off my left arm to be 10-7 this season with the Vikes. But now you're 11-2. Like, that's why I still a little bit. I wish they were a little more aggressive at the trade deadline. I know they traded for Cam Robinson, but also you're gonna get Darisaw back next season. Like, think about that boost that you're gonna get. Like, all of this is being done without one of the best left tackles in the National Football League, a premium position in the National Football League. It's crazy. Every time I play Madden, Harrison Smith retires in the first season. I think Harrison, if I had to call it, Harrison Smith will retire end of next year. I think he's got one more after that. One more after this, I mean. Hopefully. Vikings fans saying, I hate how much disrespect people are showing the Vikings and people are still considering us pretenders. Listen, man, that's just logo biased. They see that Vikings logo, like they see that right there, and they're like, man, Vikings aren't winning a Super Bowl. They see the Sam Darnold blinders, where it's like, you really see Sam Darnold hoisting that Lombardi trophy. And I've always been a big component of the confetti test, where it's like, everybody close your eyes. Can you see Sam Darnold hoisting that Lombardi? If you would have asked me that a couple months ago, I would have said hell no. But this year, the way he's playing, the swagger, the confidence, 110%. Because, also I was thinking about this. With the Vikings, if they could somehow get that first round bye, obviously that'll be huge because then you only need to go win 2 home games to go to the Super Bowl. But also in that divisional where it's probably against, let's just say it's the 5 seed. Let's just say it's 6 seed Packers. Like, you're probably getting the Packers or Lions in your building. You would have an extra week to repair. You would have that extra week of rest where, I think honestly with the Vikings ending their season, Green Bay, Detroit, like that extra week of rest could be huge. Now, if I want to give you guys my nightmare scenario for the season and the playoff picture, it would be this. The Los Angeles Rams win the NFC West, and they end up being the 4 seed in the NFC. And the Vikings, they go into Week 18. They got a chance to win the NFC North, and they lose just a heartbreaker, similar to how they lost back in Week 7 to the Lions. Then you got to turn around, travel to L.A. in a playoff game going against Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and the boys. Like, that's my nightmare scenario for the Vikings, as Rogers told me to stop in the live chat. But it's true. Like, I would be terrified of the Rams in a playoff game because I don't think the Rams are good enough this year to win 3 games in a row and go to the Super Bowl. But I think the Rams could beat anybody, even the Lions, any given spot in the playoffs this season. But that's just kind of where I'm at on my nightmare scenario for the Minnesota Vikings. Jared saying, man, I'm so happy to be a Viking. I want us to win it all now. Skull, I know it, dude. I'm like trying to tamper my expectations because even like before the game against the Falcons, I was like saying in my head, I was like, you know what, the Vikes, like if they lose in the playoffs, like who cares? Like this was just a rebuild year. This was just a throwaway year. But man, now I'm starting to think about it. I'm like, you don't know how short your championship windows truly are. And like, what if this is the year for the Vikes? What if this is their best chance over the next 5? Man, I want everybody to remember the 2017 championship game. That feeling we had when we lost to Philadelphia, it was depressing. I mean, I was 17, 18 years old when that happened, and I was just in shambles. I still have not watched the second half of that game. I've not seen a single play. But I remember that feeling when the Vikings lost, and I was just like, man, first off, it would be great to get Philly back, and maybe we get that revenge this season. But, also just thinking about that game, thinking about that matchup, I was like, I thought that was the first year of many where the Vikings were running the NFC and they were going to be back in it once they signed Kirk Cousins that offseason. So kind of my message to you guys would be enjoy the ride. Really enjoy this ride, Vikings fans, because you never know. Like, I could be looking back and I could go watch this live show and I could be not knowing that the Vikings could win the Super Bowl this year or make the Super Bowl this season. So it is just a special year. You don't want to take it for granted. But yeah, that's kind of the message I want to get out for you guys. Viking Jerome saying, Skull Sam Darnold. Shout out to you, Viking Jerome. Thanks for tuning in. Blinky saying, yeah, I'm still scared to play Philly in the playoffs. See, I'm not scared of Philly anymore. I almost want them. Like, my ideal divisional round, like if the Vikings don't get the number 1 seed, man, give me Philly in that divisional round weekend. Like, I would absolutely love that. Where it'd be the Vikings taking on the Eagles. Like, that would be awesome for me. It would be a tough matchup, heading to Philadelphia, playing Jalen Hurts and that just ruckus crowd and Saquon Barkley. So you hopefully have Ivan Pace and Blake Cashman for that matchup. But, again, who knows how this ends up playing out. Mark C. saying, thankfully, JJ stayed here despite what he went through with Zimmer. Also, Vikings fans, it's a great point, Mark. Just be grateful that the best player on our team in a normally diva-ish position is just the definition of class. He is just the definition of a stand-up guy. And even after the Bears game, the thing I loved the most about that whole game was not anything on the field. Obviously, I loved Addison and Hockenson getting off, going for over 100 yards each. But I was curious to see how Jefferson would have reacted. And what did he say after the game? He said, hey, if you don't take away me, the others are going to eat. But if you let me get those one-on-one chances, I'm going to eat. And just that mindset where it's like, I'm cool if I go out there and I have 2 catches for 27 yards and we win. Now, on the other hand, if Jefferson goes out there and we lost that Bears game, he has 2 receptions for 27 yards. I'm sure he's got a different feeling after the game where it's like, hey, I'm the best player on this football team. I'm probably a top 5 player in the entire National Football League. Get me the football. I can make an impact on winning. But totally not a pro gamer saying, hot take. Jordan Addison is the best catcher when a defender is all over him, basically on top of him. Dude, I mean, over the last month, man, Jordan Addison has had some hell of a plays. Seriously. Jordan Addison, I mean, the deep balls he was catching this weekend, he should have had 3. If you guys didn't see, Jordan Addison's dad was like, after the game, he tweeted out, he's like, good game, son, but you still owe me 50 push-ups for that 1 catch you dropped, but he still was able to, get the pass interference call on him. But Roger saying, wow, we're getting big. We're getting spam on an off-day game. Yeah, we got the bots in the chat right now, Raj. Lego fella saying, love 18's attitude. I do too, man. Truly a special player. You wouldn't want anything more from your, star wide receiver. Jared saying, we as a Viking family need to stick together no matter what. I'll be at the December 29th game. I'm going to be loud. Skol forever and beyond. Is that the Packers game, Jared? Because if that's the Packers game, that's going to be a hoot, man. That's going to be a hoot. Harvey Buxton saying Jordan Addison started to perform after he stopped saying he's going to perform. 100%. Right after I stopped saying that Jordan Addison's going to have a monster game, literally the game after was the Bears game, and then I kind of just didn't really talk about him for a couple of games. And then, obviously, this week did not say my keys to victory, like, oh, getting Jordan Addison the football, and you end up going off as well. But Blinky saying, what is LSU putting in their Wheaties? First Jefferson, now Addison. Well, Addison went to USC and Pitt, but still, point being, LSU wide receivers hit at some of the highest rate out of any position group that went to any single college. I mean, Brian Thomas, stud. Malik Neighbors, stud. Jamar Chase, Jefferson, we know those guys, and obviously the ones who, paved the path before those. Jared saying, yes, it'll be the Packers game. My wife is a Packers backer, so you know what I'm going through. Oh, Jared, tough times around there, man. That's going to be a lot of fun for you, though. That's going to be a lot of fun. And back saying, Mike Hughes couldn't find the football as team player or opponent. At least he's consistent. Mike Hughes, man. The Mike Hughes experiment in Minnesota was, I'll just say it was something. Didn't he have his first game? He had a pick 6. I think it was against, like, the Niners or something. And I thought he was going to be a stud, former first-round pick. Just never ended up, working out like that. But Greg saying, magical season for Sam and the Vikes. Think Trent Dilfer with the Bucks. Yeah, I've seen that comparison. Also, like, Rich Gannon, when he was kind of thrown out the league, went back to the Raiders, was successful. Vikings fan. Saying, what is your dream Super Bowl matchup? Mine is Vikings versus Bills. Ooh, good question. Dream Super Bowl matchup. If I had to go, honestly, both these. If I had to go in terms of winning and who I want to play, it's the Chiefs. I would honestly be more scared of the Bills than the Chiefs. And I know that sounds absolutely ludicrus considering the Super Bowl. You get that extra week off. Andy Reid, how good he is, after a bye. But I think I would go Chiefs on that. Just because, one, I mean, how poetic would it be that if Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings stopped the Kansas City Chiefs from having the first or one of the most recent three-peats in NFL memory? So I think that would be something. But guys, I am going to put a little 2-minute shot clock on. If we don't get any super chats in the next 2 minutes, I am going to sign off here. But again, last call. If you guys want to get any more hot takes here, we're going to post this back as a video, so you guys will be seen by thousands of Vikings fans. But I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. If we don't get any super chats in the next 2 minutes, we're going to sign off here. Just want to get on here, chop it up with you guys for a little bit, talk about our Minnesota Vikings, as it was a special game yesterday. So I just want to get you guys' thoughts. Jaden Berry, what up, Jaden? Good to see you in the chat, man. Tim Lindsay saying you have to be pretty excited about our chances to rat off 3 wins in a row. Who would have thought? Yeah, you know what, the next 3 games, Bears, Seahawks, Packers, you're probably favorites in all 3 of those games. Maybe Seattle, it's a pick 'em. Obviously, since you got to travel across the country, but I don't know. Jared saying, yes, Vikings, Bills, Super Bowl ratings through the roofs. It would be epic. It would be unbelievable. And funny enough, my roommates in college were actually Bills fans. For playoffs, you meant, Lindsay. Yeah, I mean, we definitely could. Crazy to say. I mean, I would have said to hell, especially, guys, it's also like this season, it wasn't just smooth sailing throughout the whole thing. Like, I remember that feeling after that Rams game on that Friday. I remember, 1, I was sick as a dog that day. And 2, that was when we got the news on Christian Darrisaw. I thought the season was over. We make the trade for Cam Robinson. You get the offense back in gear, and you start really clicking on all cylinders, man. That's where it's like it hasn't been smooth sailing the whole season. We were 5-2 at a point, losing our star left tackle, and people thought the world was ending. But, hey, what are you going to do? But Harvey, my man, coming in with a super chat, $10, saying, best content creator around the Vikings and a great commentator on YouTube. Keep it up, Pat. Harvey, it's very nice of you to say. Normally you're trying to get me, but you're giving the nice words today, so I appreciate you, man. It's been awesome having guys like Harvey, all the real ones that have kind of spent this whole season with us here at Vikings now. It has truly been a very, very special year, man. Just awesome. Mark C. Think Thielen kicking himself about taking that bag in Carolina. I'm sure a little bit. He's got to be a little envious of the Vikings' success this season. I'm not sure he's thinking about it too much, because he'll probably just end up kicking himself like you were saying. But I'm sure he's not happy about it. I'm sure he's not thrilled. But, again, like I was just saying, I would pick a Super Bowl for Harrison Smith out of any Viking. Thielen would also be very close on that list. I mean, he was a Minnesota native, played D2 football in Minnesota, pretty much walked on the Vikings. Like, how crazy is that? He was a walk-on for a National Football League team. Like, it's just insane. But, Harvey, I appreciate you, man. Very, very kind words from you. So, as always, all love to you, brother. But we do have Roger Bong coming in with another $5 super chat saying, love it, y'all. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you, Raj. Skull, crazy Bills Vikes Super Bowl, man. So that would be both Super Bowl teams would be 0-4 in Super Bowls all time. So that would be an interesting storyline. Yeah, I mean, I would love it. It would be ratings through the roof. Let me ask you guys this. What would get more ratings? Might be a little biased question to ask you guys, but Lions, Bills, or Vikings, Bills? Or if it's like Lions, Chiefs, Vikings, Chiefs. Out of like those 4 games, what do you think would get the most ratings? I'm assuming it's going to be Lions, Chiefs, just because of the Mahomes factor. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Vikings, Bills. Maybe I'm sleeping on that, Raj. Everyone wants the Lions, Nevada. Everybody's talking about the Lions. Harvey saying, can you draw a Super Bowl? What do you mean draw a Super Bowl? Yeah, I don't know, though. I don't know. What would get the most ratings? Not really too sure. I would think Vikings-Bills would be up there. Vikings-Bills is a better game, but Lions-Chiefs probably higher ratings. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, Vikings-Bills for the diehard NFL fans would definitely move the needle a little more. And plus, listen, if I didn't have any, no team in this race here for the Super Bowl, I would be so sick of just Chiefs-Lions. Like, I just wouldn't want to watch that. Like, obviously, I'm a Vikings fan. It's going to come off as extremely biased. But, again, I don't want to watch another Chiefs Super Bowl. I want to watch Bills-Vikings. Switch up. Even Bills-Eagles, Bills-Lions I would take. Yeah, Roger, 0-4 versus 0-4 would be crazy. It would be the battle of the miserable fan bases. Imagine if Diggs was still. Oh my God, yes, Harvey. Could you imagine if Diggs was still on the Bills? How? Oh, you know what I would love to see? You know how we do watch parties here every Sunday? If it's Vikings Bills, how hilarious would it be if we got a live reaction of Stephon Diggs? Like he had to react to every play in the Super Bowl. That would be hysterical. Tim Lindsay, unfortunately, Lego was right. Bills Vikes would be such a retro. Dude, it would be. It 100% would be. Jaden, Saquon Mahomes would be must for the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, in terms of ratings, definitely would be. I mean, seriously, guys, think about how funny that would be if Stephon Diggs had to live react to a Vikings-Bills Super Bowl. I want to see Eagles-Vikings running back. Me too, man. That's a dream divisional matchup for me. But, guys, hey, I'm going to sign off here. That was a quick 37 minutes. We were just live. But, seriously, guys, thank you so much. Maybe I'll start doing these every Monday. If you guys enjoy them, just really, it's kind of nothing scripted. You just kind of get up on here, chop it up about the Minnesota Vikings, and talk about it. Yeah, no, Raj, I know Z cool, but my day's about wrapping up here at Chat Sports, so we're going to get out of here. If we make it to the Super Bowl, will you go live? And if so, with the Chat Sports other team? I mean, if the Vikes make the Super Bowl, we'll be live, no doubt. Would not be for, it would not be with the other team here at Chat Sports. Z cool, real one. Oh, I got you, Mark. We're just brothers having fun. We're just brothers having fun. Even though I will say on my prize picks, I hit $1,400 this past weekend. Not trying to brag, but did hit $1,400. Ty, man, saying see you, Seeps. See you, Ty, man. But, guys, we're going to sign off out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. A little Monday live show for you all. But we'll see you guys next time. And thank you guys so much for watching. Harvey, Z Cool, Ty, man, Roger Bong, Mark, all the real ones in there. See y'all next time. As always, Skull Vikes, baby.